Welcome to Tactical Reviews for a look at the Spyderco Enuff 2. So perhaps the Enuff wasn't quite enough and there was demand for a slightly larger version, and this is the Enuff 2. So here we can see quick overall look. Going to go in and check all of the details of this along with the detailed technical measurements. So starting off with a general feel for the overall package of the Enuff 2. So the knife itself is a slim profile into a plastic sheath which is riveted with eye rivets and has a belt loop on the back which is got some flex so you can slide it over a belt, but then there's a hook so it will stay put. An extra leather retaining strap, which there have already been a few comments perhaps it's not necessary, so probably going to be removing that. You'll see how that retaining strap, which is attached underneath the belt clip and has a post here, yet the retention in the sheath is extremely secure. So just like a Kydex sheath with the lips of that sheath holding onto the knife, the retention is very secure without this extra strap. However, should you want that other level of retention, you can keep that in place. So let's go in closer and take a look. And just before we go really close in to look at all the details on the knife, so here is the Enuff 2. So this version has the full Spyderco serration, which you can see here is the serrations on Spyderco are chisel grind. So we have an edge bevel on this side, and on the opposite side of the blade it's got no edge bevel. Full flat grind, very slim handle profile, but using this texturing that we'll take a closer look at. So it's a good medium-sized blade. Let's go right in. So we come right in now on the sheath just to look at all of those details. So this is a moulded plastic sheath held together with eye rivets, drainage hole at the bottom, those shaped lips to hold onto the end of the knife handle, and then a belt clip which you can slide onto a belt, and then this hook section keeps it in place. That you can detach, relocate as you would like on the sheath. Also, you potentially then have the opportunity to remove this extra leather strap if you decide that's not needed. So now we come much closer and just look at all the finer details. So Spyderco Enuff on the handle. So this is the Enuff 2, but part of the Enuff range as it is now. So we have these very good texturing on the handle where the grip sort of faces in different directions to make sure that whichever way the knife is pulling, you can keep a firm grip. So a lanyard hole. The fixing screws here, so this side has no screw head. On the other side are the torque head So those screws go through, you only tighten them from one side. So full flat grind, obviously the Spyderco hole, jimping, nice generous section for your thumb grip. The Enuff 2 is in VG10. Those super efficient Spyderco serrations. And there we have a close look at the Spyderco Enuff 2. And for those who might not want to have the additional strap, because the sheath on the Enuff 2 has good retention anyway, just going to quickly run through removing that. Nice easy job. So we have two T10 Torx bolts holding on the belt sheath here. One of those has the leather strap attached. Now the reason that we're going to do a full removal here, potentially I could just get away with removing this one and pulling out the strap, is so I can take this post off as well. So that's the strap removed. In fact, I can just rotate that out of the way to reveal the post screw. Been done up quite firmly, but there we are. Let's pop that aside with the strap, and I can simply reinstate the other fixing for the belt clip. So there is a little washer here, but we don't have a spare of those, so this one will just have to stay kind of exposed. And of course on the back of these there's no slot or anything, so just applying a bit of finger pressure to try and get enough friction to do it up. I can feel it sliding under my finger. So there we are, simple as that, to remove the additional securing strap on the Enuff 2 and leave it with a simpler profile without that extra strap. And this is the detailed technical testing for the Spyderco Enuff 2. And starting off with the sheathed weight, which is 170.85 grams. And length while sheathed is 22.6 centimeters. With the leather retaining strap being flexible, I'm going to more or less discount that for the width of the sheath. Which is governed actually by the clip on the back. So we have 61 millimeters. The thickness, whether we include or don't include the post for the retaining strap, we have an overall thickness between the back of the clip and the mouth of the sheath, so I'm going to go with that. And we have 33 millimeters. The weight of the knife on its own, 94.9 grams. Overall length is 20.2 centimeters. Blade length 9.9 centimeters. Catch the widest part of the handle, which is just in the center. It's 13.2 millimeters. And depth at the swell 29.8 millimeters. Balance point. So not 100% precise because of the texture on the handle, but that's as close as it gets. And that is 12.2 centimeters from the tip. Blade thickness. Now there is a full taper here, so it's really right up by the handle. Here is the maximum, 2.8 millimeters. Looks like a flat grind, which it is. It's a full grind, so taking the longest part of the blade, and we have 29.3 millimeters for blade depth and grind length. So the primary bevel angle now. Which is exactly 5 degrees. So I'm going to use the laser edge bevel protractor now for the factory edge. Of course, with the Spyderco serrations, they are effectively a chisel grind, so from one side there is no edge bevel as such, and they're ground into the other. So the reality here is that the factory edge bevel angle for this side of the blade is actually the primary bevel angle, and on this side it'll be the angle that the serration is ground. So let's say for the right hand edge we have 2.5 degrees, and for the left hand edge we have 20 degrees. Onto the point angle. Which is 46 degrees. Thickness behind the edge, so I'm going to be putting the tip of the caliper just up to the top of the serration. And we have 0.58 millimeters. So there is a slight rake, but nothing too significant. Well, saying that, when you actually measure it, there is so we've got about 9 degrees. And now let's see how sharp this serrated factory edge is. So approximate center sharpness. 98 grams. And the heel, or the last serration effectively. 109 grams. Now I'm going to actually see if I can get the very tip which is not got a serration, just see if I can see something a little bit different. 119 grams, extremely impressive Spyderco factory edge. Thank you for joining me, and remember, get informed, be prepared, stay sharp.